Welcome everybody once again to Biz NFL Football 2019. Super Bowl 54 is here, the last game of the season. The final game in our long NFL journey this season. Those of you that have been with me for the entire season have had a nice profit. We started off on fire, hitting damn near 70% half the season. Then we took a little downturn the last third of the season. However, if you were with me for the entire season, if you boarded this flight on week 1, and if you're going to get off that plane in Maui like I said we were going to, you got a nice profit, you got a nice chunk of money to go to Maui perhaps, or anywhere else you want to. So congratulations to everybody who has been on this journey with me the entire season. Super Bowl is here, which means that every tout, pick seller, Twitter genius is out in force. Teflon Don. Of course, Carmine Genovese's sent a couple of emails my way. Or you could always log on their Twitter and find locks and VIP specials and just guys that just blow themselves like no other. It's just so nauseating. One game left. We're going to go over the game. Remember, guys, this is just one game. It's no reason to blow your brains out in one game just because it's the Super Bowl. We'll go over a few props. I'll give my opinion on the side, the total. And we're not going to get crazy and drop 20 units in a Super Bowl game on various props, like what color is the Gatorade. I know the color purple has been steamed due to the awful tragedy last Sunday with Kobe Bryant, his family, his friends. Awful news. I'm sure you all heard about it. Just a gut punch to anybody who has any kind of heart, a fan of basketball. But just a terrible, terrible situation that happened last Sunday, and it's still kind of lingering throughout this week. So, I've got your Super Bowl analysis for you. Stewie is here, the Biz. Florida Pete chimed in. Got a couple wagers on the total. Got some props that will throw a buck or two on as we wind down, make our final descent, prepare for landing, and bring this NFL season to a close. It's been a great season. One last time for Eddie Money to kick us off as we get into Super Bowl 54. All right, so the line is 1, and it's now 54.5. I put this down at 54 a few days ago. And as you know, I like to start off handicapping these games, looking at the nuts and bolts of a game, which is the scoring defense. Niners have the better scoring defense, and they are the dog, so they get the advantage in that category. They have the obvious net rushing advantage. They just pound the ball. They run it better than their opponent by an average of 47.5 yards per game. The Chiefs, with their horrible rush defense, have a negative 24. The net rushing is 71.5. When you tack on a point, which is 10 points, to that total, you get 81.5, which is a very comfortable margin for the Niners in that category. So the Niners have the dog with the better scoring defense. They have the better net rushing. Power rating's about even, which is about where that line is. And you see the Chiefs, when they lost this year, they've allowed a lot of rushing yards. They lost to the Colts that Sunday night game that we had. We loved that game. We loved the Colts that game. Week 5, the Colts 45 carries for 180 yards. That game went way under also, 19-13, I believe the score was. We had the under in that game also. The next week against Houston, 41 carries for 192 yards. The Week 10 game at Tennessee, 26 carries for 225 yards. So when the Chiefs lose games, they allow a lot of rushing yards. You see, here's our dog that sacks the quarterback angle. The Vikings did lose against the Niners in that horrific performance, but you see there a string of W's, and the Niners do trigger this sack the quarterback system. It's 21-8. It is 13-4 since 2011. You see the over/under there is 10-20 since 2011. It is 5-13. So these games do tend to go under the total also, which is in the exact opposite view of what most people think this game is going to have. That people think this is going to be just a scoring orgy. One thing for the Chiefs here, I don't know if this is random or not, but the team that has the worst record than their opponent in the Super Bowl have won a ton of games. See the Patriots against the Rams last year, 2 years ago. The Falcons lost to the Patriots. It's the only loss, but it's a game that they should have won. That was the 28-3 game, and then the play calling by Shanahan, questionable at the end of that game. The Falcons really should have won that game, but they didn't. The Broncos and Panthers, a game that we loved, the Broncos in that game, and so on and so forth. So the team with the worst record than their opponent has done remarkably well. I don't know if that's random or not, but it is a little quirk of statistics there. Here's one you want to play against teams that go over the majority of the time. Kansas City goes over 55% of the time. The Niners, you want to play teams that also go under the total. The Niners just hit that threshold, 52.9%, just below 53%, which triggers that bottom one. What this kind of tells you is that defense is better than offense. We've seen that in almost every sport. I mean, offense is sexy. Offense sells. People love to bet offense. People love to bet overs. But if you can lock down the other team, good pitching beats good hitting. If you can stop the other team from scoring, you have a great chance to win. Hot goaltenders in hockey, they win. In football, the better defense, you can control the line of scrimmage. You're going to have a much better chance of winning a game than the team that's throwing the ball all over the place. And when I see this stat, the first thing that comes to my mind is that New York Giant Buffalo Super Bowl, I believe 1991. That was the one where Whitney Houston sang the national anthem. The Gulf War just started. The Bills, the high-flying Bills with Jim Kelly and the K-Gun offense. I think I mentioned this game a few weeks ago. 7-point favorites. All my buddies like the Bills. I like the Giants. I took all their money as the Giants won outright as a 7-point dog. The much better defense beat the high-scoring offense. Will it happen again? Who knows? The rules are so much different nowadays than they were back then. You can't breathe on anybody now. You can't touch the quarterback. You can't hit receivers, defenseless receivers. So they've really made a mockery of the rules, and the situation is a lot different now than it was back then as far as defense is concerned. So I don't know if it's as relevant as it was back then, but it never hurts to have the better defense regardless of what sport you're playing. So having said all that, I'm going to take the under. It's 55. It's 54.5. I bought a half point to 55 because 55 is a key number for totals, 31-24 and whatnot. So I took the first half under 55. I think you're going to get under money as we get towards kickoff. I think all the over money has come in. I don't see this line getting past 55, and I wouldn't be surprised if it hits 54 by game time. And I also took the first half under 27. The Chiefs have been a historically slow starting team. Who knows if they get off to a fast start in this game, but they have had a history of not getting off to the quickest of starts, even before these last two playoff games where they played the the Titans and the Texans, and had a hard time getting going. Niners are going to obviously have a ball control, hopefully time-consuming style of play. You will see Garoppolo throw more than 8 times in this game, but I like the under in this game. It never hurts to go against the public. I mean, the entire world is on the over, and this line went from 51 right up to 53, 54 in a day or so. As soon as the line came out, it got blasted. And I think you're going to see some buyback on that under number. So we're going to take the under 55 for the game, the under 27 for the first half. I did have those 49er numbers where they have the better scoring defense, the better rushing attack, the over-under statistic there. But with a gun to my head, I'll take the Niners. It just kind of feels to me like the Chiefs are going to win this game somehow in any reason to get a Super Bowl title. That is the lamest reason to pick a team. But this line is so tight. The number's right. It's a coin flip game. And, I don't want to put my money on a coin flip. If you're going to bet a coin flip, then just bet the coin flip. I mean, you could do that. Minus 110, heads or tails. Be my guest. You don't have to wait 3.5 hours of football to get that bet in. You can just have to wait till they flip the coin if you want to bet a coin flip. Because to me, this game is a complete coin toss. So I'm not betting the side. And as a Raider fan, it's hard to bet the Chiefs. But as somebody who lives in the Bay Area, the dog agrees. Living in the Bay Area, the 49er fans are some of the most obnoxious pricks in the world. Let me tell you something. It's just like I've been a long time Warrior fan and a long time Raider fan and A's fan. When my team sucks, I stick with them. I've been a fan since 1970. I've had my ups and downs. I stick with them. When the Warriors were rolling the last 5 years, where I work in a casino, you had people in there every freaking day watching Warrior games and wearing their gear and showing up for the playoff games and whatnot. This year, you can't find a lick of Warrior gear anywhere. And it's the same with these 49er fans. The past several years, you couldn't find these people in a casino watching a game. You couldn't find them wearing their gear in the casino. You couldn't find them around town. Nobody's wearing Niner gear. Now, all of a sudden, this year, they jammed that place. They jammed the casino every day or every week for Niner games. Everybody's wearing their little Niner gear, their beanies, their sweatshirts, their hoodies, whatever. The flags on the cars. Everybody's a Niner fan now. And this ridiculous, Niner gang video with E40, the biggest front runner in the history of front runners. When they have the front runner parade, this prick will be on the lead float. Have you seen this video? Bang Bang Niner Gang. That is the dumbest shit I've ever seen in my life. It actually belonged on the Grammy telecast last week, which was by far the worst Grammys in the history of the Grammys. Don't get me started on the Grammys. If anybody watched the Grammys, first of all, when you start the Grammys, you need to grab me. You need to have a star. You need to have a huge act to open the show and say, yeah, this is the fucking Grammys. This is the shit. So who did they bring out to start the Grammys last week? Lizzo. I mean, she can't even sing that well. I mean, she could sing, but lots of people could sing. She can't sing. And they bring her out there to sing that god-awful song that's somehow popular. And then you've got the awful Alicia Keys as host. She could sing, she could play the piano, extremely talented. But I don't need to see her host that show and introduce Usher, and then have Usher come out and give the worst karaoke performance of Prince I've ever seen in my life. Look, I don't care if there's a Prince thing coming up on CBS. Okay, there's only one person who can do Prince. I don't need to see that sawed-off little runt preen on the stage and act like he's Prince. There's only one Prince. He's not it. That was a god-awful performance. Then you got Aerosmith and Run DMC. What on God's earth was that? Great song, great band. I actually saw Steven Tyler in Maui last time I was in Maui with his band. He was actually really, really good. That was the most disjointed performance I've ever seen. Awful. And I could go on and on about that telecast. That was just absolutely horrific. So, okay, enough of that. Enough of the Grammys. But that was just fucking awful. So anyway, E40 and that god-awful Bang Bang Niner game video, that belonged on the Grammys, because if you're going to just give me a series of shitty performances, you may as well throw that video on with it. Prop bets. The odds that I would talk shit about some type of recent music in a negative way would be minus 1 million. There's a prop bet for you. Okay, so prop bets. Here's the thing with the prop bets. Everybody wants to be a genius when it comes to the Super Bowl prop bets. Everyone wants to say, you know, I hit this, I hit that. Like, last year, the Rams scored 3 points. I listen to various podcasts, and I read as much shit as I can. And you got one guy's bragging, oh yeah, I had the Rams scoring 3 points last year at plus $1 million or whatever it was, and it's basically just an opportunity to tug on your junk when you hit these prop bets. They're a crapshoot. I mean, they're very, very popular, and you can bet on goddamn anything. The coin flip, the color of the Gatorade, who's going to accept the first penalty, what's the first song that J-Lo's going to sing, anything. So you don't want to bet too much money on these things. Don't invest too much money. Have some fun with them. A lot of people will calculate the odds and probability of these props, and that's all well and good. Rufus Peabody, he's a really, really sharp guy. People look at past games and statistics, and you try to figure out the likelihood this dog needs to shut the fuck up. Not my dog, the neighbor dog. Making his grand reappearance after 2 months of silence. Now this prick, this bastard dog's gonna bark. Shut up. They try to calculate the odd probability of different things. How many rushes, how many receptions. A couple years ago, the Patriots and the Eagles, I had prop bets on Jay Ajayi going over. This fucking dog, I swear to God. I'm in the middle of this! You don't give a fuck. So, I bet Jay Ajayi to go over attempts and yards. And, when you look at the previous 2 games, the divisional game, he had 15 carries for 54 yards. LeGarrette Blount had 90 for 19. Championship game, he had 18 for 73, Blount 6 for 21. So I'm all over Ajayi because I knew they were going to be able to run the ball on the Patriots. So what happens in the Super Bowl? Ajayi gets 9 for 57, Blount gets 14 for 90 and a touchdown. You could look at all the past shit you want. It's random what happens in this game. I don't give a shit what somebody tells you. They could look at the probability of this, that, and whatnot. It's one game, and anything could happen. And they could talk about value this and value that. And look, you don't want to piss off 15 units in the Super Bowl, betting units on all kinds of different props. So you just have some fun. And for me, I just want to get some odds. Yeah, some people will leak set lists and anthem length. Every year the anthem length gets leaked and set lists get leaked. And if you have inside information, by all means bet that prop. But for the most part, these props are just completely random as far as what happens. You can make an educated guess, which is why I like to get some odds on whatever it is I'm going to play, and I just like to have some fun with them. It's just something to watch during the game. I don't want to sit there. I've had games where I've had 15 prop bets going, and I'm watching the whole game and watching this prop go down in flames and that prop goes down in flames. Trust me, it's not a fun game to watch. The Super Bowl should be fun. Okay, so make it fun. So having said that, let's look at a few props. The first touchdown of the game. I got a couple players, one from each team. Deebo Samuel's plus 1,200. He has scored a touchdown in 4 of the last 6 regular season games for the Niners. He did not score a touchdown in the 2 playoff games, but those games were just snooze fest where they just ran the ball. Not indicative of how the Niners usually play. Of those 4 times he scored, 3 times they were the first score of the game, and he can score on a run or a pass. They like to run that misdirection, that jet sweep with him. He's a very athletic, good-sized dude, can break tackles, has speed. And so Deebo Samuel can absolutely score the first touchdown of the game. Kendrick Bourne scored the first touchdown, I believe, was against the Vikings. So, it doesn't have to be Kittle. It doesn't have to be Mostert. It could be anybody. And Deebo Samuel's the guy. I really like this kid. And at plus 1,200, I'll take me some Deebo Samuel at plus 1,200 to score the first touchdown of the game. And for the Chiefs, give me Damian Williams. It's plus 700 to score the first touchdown. He has scored 8 touchdowns in his 4 career playoff games. He's the most likely Chief to score on the ground. He is getting the vast majority of the carries on the ground. If they get close to the goal line, Andy Reid has no problem running the ball to get in the end zone. And I also wouldn't be surprised if he wants to just run the ball to kind of set a tone for his team. Whereas, the Niners think that they're the only team that can run the ball. Hey, look, we could run the ball too. And if they get close to the goal line, Mahomes doesn't have to throw it in. So Damian Williams he could also catch a pass too. So he could run or catch a pass. I think Damian Williams is really good value at plus 700. So Deebo Samuel plus 1,200, Damian Williams plus 700. I think those are 2 really nice value plays for the first touchdown of the game. If Damian Williams plays, your effective odds are plus 350 because you're putting money on each player. But you get two shots for the price of one. And I like to go for one player on each team. So regardless of which team scores first, at least you got a shot at having the right player. Let's go with Deebo Samuel at plus 1,200, 12 to 1. Damian Williams plus 700, 7 to 1 to get the first touchdown of the game. Special teams defensive touchdown is paying 2 to 1. 8 of the last 11 Super Bowls have had a special teams or defensive touchdown. It's also kind of a fun bet. Anytime there's a punt, anytime somebody gets their hands on an interception or a fumble, you kind of root for this guy to take it to the house. Plus 200 isn't a bad price on a prop that has hit in 8 of the last 11 Super Bowls. So, let's toss a few bucks on that special teams defensive touchdown. MVP. To me, there's no value in betting a Chief player for the MVP. If the Chiefs win, it's Mahomes, unless something really, really strange happens. If Kelsey or Hill or somebody gets all the touchdowns from Mahomes, then maybe they give it to them. But I don't see how anybody other than Patrick Mahomes is going to be the MVP for the Chiefs if the Chiefs win. I just don't see it unless something really strange has to happen. Maybe Tyrone Matthew has a monster game and has a pick 6, fumble recovery, whatnot. I just don't see any other player being MVP for the Chiefs besides Mahomes. I think he's minus 135, which if you think he's gonna, you may as well just bet the Chiefs money line for the game. I mean, it makes no sense to bet Patrick Mahomes as MVP. 0. So let's take a couple of Niners. If the Niners win, I'm not interested in Garoppolo. Yes, he could definitely play well enough to win. But, I hit Von Miller at 25 to 1 when the Broncos beat the Panthers 3 years ago at Levi Stadium. I wrote a lengthy piece on the RX forum breaking down that game, and I don't humble brag, but I really nailed that game. It played out like I thought it was. And basically what I said was, I like the Broncos to win, and Peyton Manning is nothing more than a game manager. So Peyton Manning, to me, was not going to win the MVP because he just, at that stage of his career, he just was not putting up the stats that warranted any kind of MVP consideration. So if the Broncos win a game, and it's not going to be Peyton Manning, who is going to be the MVP? And I centered on 2 players. I focused on 2 players. One was C.J. Anderson, the running back. I thought if they gave him the ball, fed him the ball, and if he had a big game on the ground and scored some touchdowns, he had a great chance of being the MVP. I think he was 7 or 8 to 1. And the other one was a defensive player because I love the defense. Von Miller was the obvious choice. Get some sacks, perhaps a strip sack fumble, which he did, and he did score a touchdown on that play. It was right by the goal line. So he had a strip sack, fumble, touchdown. Had a monster game. Ended up being the MVP at 25-1. So if the quarterback is not going to win the MVP for the winning team, you could really find some nice prizes. Deebo Samuel, again, if you like him to score the first touchdown, maybe he sneaks another touchdown in there. He could score running or passing the ball. He's an explosive player. He's great with the ball in his hands. When he is yards after the catch, this guy is really an explosive player, a powerful runner, breaks tackles. And as I said, Garoppolo just isn't a dominant stat quarterback. Yes, they could win. Garoppolo could throw for 230 and a couple scores, and they end up giving it to him. But if Deebo Samuel runs for a touchdown, catches a touchdown, maybe gets a big third down conversion, maybe busts another play for a touchdown, who's to say that he can't get the MVP at 18-1? At 18-1, I'll take a flyer on Deebo Samuel. And Raheem Mostert at 7-1, obviously, is an obvious pick. They like to win the ball. They like to run the ball. I should say run the ball, not win the ball. Run the ball. The Chiefs have an awful rush defense. He had a huge game against the Packers, and I don't see why Shanahan would not ride the hot hand, why he would go away from Mostert. You got Coleman's dinged up with that separated shoulder. Breida's got fumbleitis right now. I don't know how much Shanahan's going to trust Breida with his fumbling issues. I'm sure he'll get some carries, but I would think that Raheem Mostert, he had the ball 28 carries against the Packers. I don't think he's going to gash the Chief defense like that pathetic Packer defense was, but I don't see why he should not get the majority of the carries in this game. So if the Niners win and Mostert has a really good game and Garoppolo kind of has an okay game, then I could certainly see Raheem Mostert getting that MVP at 7-1 odds. So Deebo at 18-1, Mostert 7-1. Those are a couple of MVP props that I do like. So this is what I like for the game. I'm on the under. We are against the world as they are all on the over. First half under 27, game under 55. If it's 45.5 by that half, we can wait to see if it takes up to 55. 55 is a key number with totals. So let's play 55. First touchdown, Deebo at plus 1,200. Damian Williams plus 700. We got a player from each team. So regardless of which team scores, you got a shot to win. Special teams defensive touchdown. We'll take that for 2-1 odds. We'll take the MVP Deebo at 18-1 and Raheem Mostert at 7-1. These props are spend a little, win a lot. You know, don't spend tons on these props. You could bet half the unit on these. I would bet a half unit on all of them. Again, I don't want to invest 10 units in a Super Bowl game. If you bet a half unit on props and bet a unit on the totals, you're betting 4.5 units. It's a little high, but we have won money this year, so we're basically reinvesting our winnings into this game just to have some fun and also to have a chance at hitting a decent price. Like I said, if I'm going to play props in this game, I want to play some odds, and I want to have a little fun with it. First touchdown is a great prop because you have a play on both sides. So regardless of who scores, you have a shot at that prop. Special teams defensive touchdown, you could root for that. If there is a special teams defensive touchdown, you just got your money back for one of your under props. So it's not going to kill you as far as the under is concerned. If they do run a touchdown back, a lot of times we bemoan the fact, we lost the under because they had a pick six or a kick return. Well, if they have in this game, it will cover your one of your underplays. And again, the MVP, if the Niners happen to win the game, you got a couple of nice shots there with Samuel and Mostert to win MVP. All right, so 2 bets on the unders. We've got 5 plays on some props. Maybe throw a half unit on each. Like I said, I don't want to get crazy. Don't go throwing 15 units in this game. It's just one game. Props to me are, as I said, a chance to have some fun with them and get some bang for your buck. Okay, I'm not interested. Yes, no overtime is minus 1,200, and the game's probably going to go in regulation. So everybody, all these guys like Rufus, it's just a tremendous bet. When you look at the probability of it actually happening, no safety is minus 900 or something. I mean, you really want to lay 9 to 1? Really? You want to sit there and root for no safety and risk 900 to 100? I don't. I'm just not interested in a prop like that. I want some bang for my buck. So, those are the props and the bets that I am playing for this game. Alright, there is my contact information. Switch the music up here. A little squid cakes from Tower of Power. Biz 112763 at gmail.com is how you can reach me. Twitter, BizWinners at BizWinners. College basketball has not been good recently. NBA has. NHL has been very good. We're 10 games below 500, but we were up about 8 units. We play games in regulation only. We get large plus money prices on these games. And we've been doing well in hockey and NBA. College basketball has not been good. I think we're down about 10 units. Very, very, very disappointing college basketball. Baseball starts in about 2 months. I'm debating on whether or not to send an email out, or I might just start a thread on the forum and post there every day. I don't know yet. If you're on my list, I'll let you know. And we'll go from there. So, baseball in a couple months. Basketball in full swing now. Hockey. If you're interested in those sports, hit me up. If you like this video, thumbs up. Also subscribe, spread the word. You know the drill. I had a guy last night in my room ask me who I liked. Super Bowl. And the guy sitting next to him called me a degenerate. What do you call a degenerate? Oh, you like to bet on this, you like to bet on that. I said, well, I have a documented winning record. Oh, everybody says they're documented. I said, no, it actually is. And I says, you know what the irony is of your statement? And he just, what? I said, you're sitting at a poker table and you're calling me a degenerate. I said, you see the irony there? You're gambling. I'm working. But I'm the degenerate. That is the mind of a fucking poker player, of a gambler. A lot of guys in my room that play poker, they're really, really good dudes. And this is a good dude. But it's like, you're going to sit there and call me a degenerate as you're sitting there gambling. It's like, you're going to criticize somebody else for being fat as you sit there and jam down 3 scoops of ice cream. Really? Put the spoon down, pal. Alright. That'll do it. That is our destination. That is Maui. I told you 5 months ago. Join me on this journey and we will land in Maui. And you will have enough money to pay for a trip to Maui. I don't know how much you put on a game. But if you put any kind of decent amount, you can at least pay for a condo for a week in Maui with your winnings. And a plane flight, coach only. Congrats to everybody. Thanks all of you for joining me every week, for joining me on this NFL journey. I told you in August we were going to have a winning season, and we did. So congratulations. Next year, I'm really looking forward to next year. I'm going to tighten up my system. I'm going to go through everything, cut out the bad stuff. I'm going to have a separate section of just my elite systems that people have asked me about. I'm going to do that. For those of you that have asked, I'm going to have a separate section next year of my top system plays, my regular system plays. We're going to have the Florida Pete progressive system, which he tells me is money. We're going to put that to the test. He tells me it's true. There's only one way to find out, and that's by putting it out there and keeping track. One of the reasons that I put out a video this year is because I had a lot of people just like the view last night. Oh, you don't win. You're just saying that And I'm like, it's out there, bro. And I put myself out there on Front Street all year long. And I'm pretty proud of the work that I do. I'm pretty proud of the time and research that I put into it, because it produced a winning season. I hope everybody enjoys the Super Bowl this Sunday. Good luck with all of your action. Enjoy the game. If you're interested in baseball, look for my thread on the RX forum for baseball. I'm probably going to put a thread out for baseball that you can follow all season long. Again, thanks everybody for following me, for joining me on this journey, for having a great year. I look forward to seeing you all next year. And as always, I will let Mark Knopfler and his crew take us out with this killer solo at the end of the song. Take care.
And a crowd of young boys, they're fooling around in the corner. Drunk and dressed in their best brown baggies in their platform soul. They don't give a damn about any trumpet playing band. It ain't what they call rock and roll. And the Sultans, yeah, the Sultans, they play Creole. Creole. And the man steps right up to the microphone and says at last, just as the time bell rings, good night, now it's time to go home. Then he makes it fast with one more thing. We are the Sultans. We are the Sultans.